Hello and welcome to another Mr. Betabyte video, and in this video we're looking at the Sony SL-C6 Mark II, and the Mark II is different from the Mark I insofar as cosmetically it has this dark cabinet, whereas the Mark I was a silver cabinet. There are also a few sort of tweaks to the electronics, some refinements that make these just that little bit better than the Mark I in many ways. I don't know whether that's necessarily completely true, but we'll see. The issue with this machine is it powers on. You can see it's fine. Clock's blinking away quite happily, nice and bright, but there is no power when you go from standby. And I assume it's probably a power supply rail that's gone on it. Now, I did work on a lot of these machines. I say a lot, it's probably about 20 or 30 back in the early 1990s. And yeah, I really enjoyed them. I really liked this machine. And I've actually been trying to get hold of one of these for probably about 18 months, but they seem to be quite few and far between, even though they did sell pretty well, to be fair, relatively. But they also go for silly money on eBay and other selling sites. So I was really pleased to get hold of this one. Yeah, it's in good condition. I mean, that's the other thing. Some of the ones that were on eBay were just in terrible condition, and they were wanting sort of like £150 UK pounds, which is a lot of money for something that's this old and also needs a lot of work done to it. I'd be interested to see. I can't remember if these suffered with the same servo problems as the Mark I. The Mark I had issues just like the C7 and C5 with the servo caps going bad, the little blue Sanyo caps. I seem to remember a common one was the capacitor for the capstan lock. So yeah, I remember changing quite a few of those back in the day. So without further ado, let's crack on. So before we go any further, let's do the mains plug fuse check. Really funky plug with this. It's one thing I really liked about the 80s is you could actually get some really quite cool plugs and plug colours. So place your bets. I reckon this is going to be a 13 amp fuse. Yeah. 13 amp fuse, there we go. So let's get that changed, and also tidy up the wiring. It's quite oh yes, and core grip's not tight either. So yeah, let's get that sorted. So that's all done. Redone the wiring as well, so it's not too bad. It's quite interesting that somebody's obviously been having a go at this at some point and used a screwdriver that's a bit too big and scraped all around the plastic, both on the cord grip and on the actual plug itself. But yeah, we're all good to go. So first impressions of the machine. It looks pretty okay. There's some dust, of course, but it's pretty tidy. The head drum looks pretty okay, and the seller did say that they'd literally used it to copy over a few tapes, I think back in the 90s, and then just put it in storage, and that was it. So yeah, the belts all need changing. I mean, they're not too bad, and we'll give them a go. The pinch roller looks terrible, to be honest. It's pretty shiny. Back tension band looks fine. Could do with a clean. and hopefully we'll change the tyres as well, just to make sure they're good. So this does use, and you can see the end of it there, an STK type chip, encapsulated chip for the power supply, and they do have a bit of a reputation for being pretty unreliable, but generally on Sony stuff they're not too bad. They don't push them too hard. Generally, that's yeah, generally. I mean, on the C20, 30, 40 range, for example, I think I've only ever seen one gone bad, and that had a hard life anyway, been badly stored. So yeah, it's they're pretty reliable in Sony's generally, but I have to say I've not got too much experience with the C6. Like I say, I did a lot of these back at, well, I did 20 or so, which is not really a lot, back in the 90s, probably is more than that, but never had power supply faults. So this is actually a completely new fault for me, which is great. I like the challenge. So I suppose we better lift this panel and see what's going on. So top panel's removed. It's easy enough to do. 2 screws here and here, which go through the white channel indicator neons. And then you've got a screw here, and then you've got this rather nifty little sort of clip, which you just undo the screw and push that back, then it lifts out. So you've got 2 fuses. I think one is 3.15, yeah, 3.15 amp, and one is 4 amp. Yeah, I suppose we ought to check those to see what they're like. So yes, let's do that. So I've checked both fuses and both are fine, which I'm not entirely surprised to find, to be honest. It's a fairly simple power supply, so much so that half the board, or part of the board, is actually taken up with the tuner section here. So it's just basically a transformer-based power supply, a couple of rails, and then the SDK deals with the rest. So my gut feeling is this is going to be bad, but yeah, we'll see. So let's do some checks. I have actually got a circuit diagram for a Mk1, and I think the power supply is pretty much the same as the Mk1, so you can use the Mk1 service manual for this part of the machine anyway. I think there probably are differences on the main boards underneath, but we'll see. So being the true pro I am, and not using multiple cameras, let's check these voltages. So I should have on pin 3.4 here on connector CN001, I should have 12 volt regulated here, and it's the same there, same rail. But I should also have an ever, i.e. always on 12 volt rail here. So let's see if we get that. Now we do have a 12 volt-ish rail on the ever, which suggests that the regulator is, the SDK chip is actually working to an extent. So let's investigate further. Okay, so focus turns to the standby issue. We know we have a 12 volt ever voltage. So I seem to remember this transistor here is problematic, and I do actually wonder checking if there's dry joints or something going on. No. Okay. So on the collector, looking at the circuit diagram, I should have 12 volts. I actually have 19 volts. So that's interesting. On the emitter, I should have 12 volts, which I don't. Oh no, I do. I have 12 volts. Well, that's good. And I also have 12 volts on the base, which I don't think I should have. Looking at the power supply board circuit diagram, I should have 6 volts. So that's correct. So that's good. Fantastic. So there's also a Xenon diode down here. So let's just check that, but I'm sure that'll be fine. I'm getting nice nice voltages on that. So I've got 12 volts across that as well, to actually 12.37, so that's good. Super. So, what is going on? So I think I'm confusing myself here because this is a Mark II and the schematic I have is for a Mark I. Now, the two are similar, but they're not the same by a long shot, and the boards are not interchangeable. A lot of the components are, but the boards are not. So, yeah, measuring the voltages on CN5001, I think it is. I'm not getting a 12 volt regulated. We know this is working, so we've got an Ever 12, and yeah, I really suspect it's the SDK chip that's gone pop. So I think I need to get one of these, and we'll take it from there. But I have no voltages coming out of the SDK chip, so I have a new SDK 5314 on order. So when that arrives, we'll swap it over and see if that is actually the fault. Really interested to see if it is. Because like I say, they tend to be quite reliable, but then this is like getting on 40 years old, so yeah, cut it some slack. SDKs aren't that bad. Or are they? A couple of days have passed and the chip has arrived from Little Diode again. Do find their components really good, to be fair, so I think we've got the best chance of getting a good replacement SDK 5314 for this. So let's get it unwrapped and get it fitted. So the old one is out and ready to fit the new one. I did have a bit of a battle, actually, bent the board slightly, but I'm sure it'll be fine. A bit of silicone grease there off the back. The other thing I have done is I've polished this. Just gives a little bit more extra contact for the SDK chip. This is quite rough. This isn't. This is actually quite smooth, even though it doesn't look it. It's much smoother. So I'll stick some heat compound on it and fit the chip, and away we go. So the moment of truth, has that fixed it? New SDK is in, despite me trying to solder it in one way round, honestly. Let's give it a try. So the heads have moved and we have an LED on. So that's good. Let's try my blank tape. Now is that gonna, there we go. So fast forward works, and play seems to work, just defeating the read cutouts. A bit of hunting about, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised the caps are bad on the servo circuits. Yeah, rewind is working. It's just very quiet. It's actually not a bad deck at all. That's a little bit noisy. Yeah, and there's slippage there, but it's not. Oh, actually, no, it's really good. So I think with a belt change, this will be a really good machine. Check unload. It's a bit noisy, but yeah, that's fine. Oh, well, that's excellent. So we have a working machine. So I suppose the next thing is to sort of hook it up and try a tape in it. Okay, so let's try a cassette. Noisy load, we'll have a look at that. And that is winding, so that's good. And yeah, we have hunting, so we've got a servo board fault. So we're going to be looking at caps on the servo board, and place your bets now that they're Sanyos. So let's do that next. That's quite fun, isn't it? Let's get these caps changed in the servo circuitry. So, I know these two commonly cause problems. These two Sanyo caps. We've also got two down here, so one here, and also one here, and one here, and potentially that one as well. I mean, it is a Sanyo cap, but it probably will be okay. But we'll check them. We'll check them in the meter. So yeah, I'll swap these out, and we'll take it from there. It's quite a dusty board as well. This machine is fairly full of dust, so I may well not dust this out during this video, but we'll see. It will be done in the fullness of time, but we'll see. At the moment, I just want to see it working, to be honest. So yeah, let's crack on. So the first one I'm going to change, I've already started changing caps on this, but I thought I'd record some of the process. And the first one I'm going to change is 8 microfarad. Now, I've struggled to actually get hold of any, so what I'm doing is I'm using a 0.47 and a 0.22, which will take me to 0.68, which is fine, somewhere near, and given the probable tolerances of the Sanyo caps, sure will be absolutely fine. I did actually manage to find some 0.68, but they haven't arrived yet, and they've been on order quite a while, and I just want to see this machine working. So I may well, in the fullness of time, swap these out and put in the 0.68, but this is a bit tight. Possibly should have cut a bit off the leads first, but hey ho. Bit late now. I'm committed. And snippy things. Let's check I've not shorted anything, because there's a fair bit of solder around there. Right, so they're in tandem. Great. So next one is this one here. And the chances are I probably don't need to change every single Sanyo cap, but they are failing. So 2.47. So yeah, I had to order these because I'd actually run pretty low of pants. Yeah, so I had to get some more, and it took a while to arrive. Well, actually, I say it took a while to arrive. I ordered them on a Saturday, and they arrived on the Tuesday, so that was really good. Yes. Trying to put it in the complete wrong place. I was thinking, gosh, I'm going mad. Putting it in a place where there never was a capacitor. That could have been fun. So 0.7 in. Make sure I got the clarity of that right. I've got this one here. The 0.47. And this little tiny one, which I don't think probably is going to be bad, but it's only a cap, so let's get it out. Which one is it? It's that one. I very nearly removed the disc by mistake. It would have been a bit frustrating. I'm there for ages wondering why nothing was moving. one. It's 0.1. 0.1. And this one. Actually see that, yeah, there we go. I don't want to look at the base of each one because they're encapsulated, so if they were leaking they would have had to have gone very, very bad. That's a 1. And I think this is the last one. There's another 0.47. So there's that one. That one. That one. That one. Those two. That one. So that's it. They are all done. Magic. So, I suppose the next thing is to test it. See if that's improved the servo situation. So let's just go through the caps. This is 0.47. So not terribly bad. ESR's not great. So this is 0.1. We've got an ESR, look at that. But yeah, 0.1. This is 0.47. Yeah, not too bad. So it's 1. That's actually fine. 0.68. Not terrible. The value's reading high though, which is a bit of a sign that maybe it's not good. I seem to remember the 0.68 was a fairly common failure one anyway, even sort of back in the day as these machines got older, so interesting. So that's another 0.47. Yeah, not fantastic. I do have a repair kit on order for this. It hasn't arrived. It's coming from Australia. I may have said that before, so apologies if I have. But what it was doing, it's actually working fairly well with the belts that are already in there. I think it has had a belt change at some point in its life, must have. But it was leaving a loop of tape on the eject. So what I have done in the interim is I've put some rubber renew on this tyre. So just so it takes up a bit more reliably. So let's give it a go. So yeah, so the servo problems are fixed, but as you can hear, the deck doesn't sound right, and I think the capstan belt has come off. So let's have a look. It does need belts, and see if we can just get it to go to some degree with the existing belt. So let's take a look. Already taken the screws out, of course, so just undo the clip. And yeah, you can see what's happened. The belt's popped off, and actually see it's not wonderful. So yeah, let's pop that back on. Try again. So belt's back on. It doesn't look too bad, but it is. It's got a stretch mark where it's been sat for so long. This belt isn't actually too bad, but again, you can see it's not running that true, so it does need to be changed. But yeah, it's enough to get us going and just see if we've actually got the electronics working as they should. One thing I did forget, but is actually worth just being a bit careful of, is this grounding cable here. If you leave this floating about, obviously it's going to get under the machine, it's going to start touching stuff. So I've just put the screw back in for now. It's not in tight, it's just enough just to get it to, well, just keep it out of the way. So worth noting that, it could do some damage. So we have results. Obviously it does need, it's not had a clean yet, or the tape part's not had a clean. I have dusted it out pretty well. But the tape part's not had a clean. The pinch roller is bad anyway. It's well worn. It needs belts, as we've just seen, and idlers as well. But all things considered, it's actually working pretty well. I can't track that out, that line at all. I mean, I can adjust the tracking. You can see it has an effect, but I can't really track out that line. The sound's muffled, and it does, you know, you can see there, the line trying to creep up from the bottom there. So the tape is not running true through the tape path. It's a bit all over the place. It's actually improving a little bit with the use, to be fair. Oh gosh, it's going all over the place. But we've solved the servo problem. So literally changing all of those capacitors has done the trick. I do wonder if I've got a head switching problem there as well, possibly. Might have to investigate that. But I think the majority of the issue with it now is just literally it needs the rubbers replaced and serviced and a good clean. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this video here now at this point. We've got it working electronically. Save obviously some alignment, but we need to get the deck working properly next. So the deck side of it will be part 2. It'll be a little while yet because I'm waiting for the parts from Australia, and the last lot that I bought actually took a month to arrive. So yeah, but yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. I've loved it. I've absolutely loved working on a C6 again. And I'd completely forgotten what they're like to work on, to be honest, even though I'd done, you know, a few. Not that many, but a few. So, yeah, really nice to see it. And you can sort of see the lineage of where, like, the C9 and the C20, 30, etc., they're all just moving on slowly. You can see sort of the progression and the design and the miniaturization. And just sort of making it more compact and neat. You can see this is sort of a move on from like the C5, C7. Again, you know, it's been really cool. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's absolutely wonderful, everybody subscribing. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, see you in another video.